we always get into these just incredible conversations before. So we're a few minutes late just because we were diving in, discussing some of our clients and how we're helping them reach their goals and their dreams and get out of their own way. And that's exactly what we do. We study the material that we teach on a daily basis, and we love to just have these little master classes and discuss this. So we're going to be diving today and sharing with you, and we want you to be a participator, not just a spectator. Let us know that you're here, and maybe where you're from, and just play full out, because today is all about the power of habit. I mean, your habits, they're going to make or break you, and you really are just a product of your habits. Your results are always showing you the truth, and this is where we got to take those honest reflections and assessments of ourselves and go, am I getting the results that I want? Because if you're not, you've got some nasty programming. I mean, in my line of work and how I've mentored, we just call this a paradigm. You've got some habits, some conditioning, some belief systems, probably a poor self-image, failure self-image. You got some stuff that's getting in the way, but habits, guys. It's all about habits.
It is surely all about habits, Tara. An interesting conversation we had before we went live, for sure. Tara is full of wisdom. I always enjoy our conversations. No bullshit. And this is what these masterclasses are about. No bullshit, straight up advice that you can take, and when you apply it to your life, you get the result. And that is the important thing. It's not if, it's when. And it is about taking those actions. But habits, Tara, I've been thinking about this since we decided to do the topic on habits. And at the end of the day, what Tara said, she's right, and she's correct in what she is saying. It is shitty beliefs coming from shitty programming, conditioning for how many years. So that's where your habits have got you. And people who are addicted, it could be drink, it could be drugs, it could be food, it could be negative behavior, procrastination. They're all addictions certain people go through daily, but the only way to be able to actually break free from them is choosing a different heart. And I was saying this to a client actually before, and I have a client, and listen, I won't be mentioning his name, but there's some problem with drugs. And I said it to him because I said this to him, and I'm going to say it to the viewers. Choosing a life, right, that's not giving you the results you want is heartbreaking, number one. And that is a hard life. That is a hard life to live, because you're always wanting more. You are capable of more, because each person listening to this is capable of more. And as a mentor of mine said, it's your birthright to go and claim what's yours. So maybe, just maybe, this could be, the stepping stone that you need. But you can choose that life of being out of shape, of making excuses, of procrastinating, of maybe whatever belief system you have that, you weren't feeling good enough. Now, that's a tough life. That's not an easy life to live, Tara, right? But the other side of it, you can choose creating habits, and I call them well-formed, successful habits, where it's not easier. It's as hard as this life, but you do get to choose your hard. Whereas, yes, it can be a bit boring and mundane, but it's showing up with consistency. It's being persistent, and all the rewards are there for you. And that's what I mean by going to claim what's your birthright, because it is. And as Tara knows this as well.
Yeah, I think it's important, the starting point here when you're looking at habits too is what do you want? If you're not getting the results that you want, you got to take a look at what do you want, and then what are the habits of that person that's reached that goal, that's reached that dream, right? I mean, our habits, again, they're just reflected in our results. So if you're not happy with your results, and like Derek saying, whether it's, your health, your fitness, your relationships, your money goals, your business goals, whatever it is, your results are just reflecting the truth. So we got to take, again, I love Derek always says, no bullshit. We got to take a real no bullshit look at ourselves and go, okay, well, I love this. I always share this with my clients. I always say, you ever notice when there's a problem? There you are. Because the problem and the solution, it is you. This is 100% responsibility. Our habits dictate our behaviors. and our behaviors dictate our beliefs, and our beliefs dictate our logic. So you've got to form the habits of the person who has already reached those goals and dreams. So if that is to get your, maybe overweight butt in shape, because that seems to be a big talk on this planet right now since the last 2 years. Well, what are the habits of a fit, healthy, thriving person? Well, the habits of that person, right, are going to be creating order around how you talk, how you walk, the kind of food you eat, where you spend your time, who you spend your time with, getting to a gym, having maybe a coach and a mentor. So you're going to have to form those habits. Now, all the ways that you don't, right, all the ways that the results that you're getting, it's just because you're feeding those bad habits. That's just part of the program. We are programmed to get the results that we're getting. Right. This is where, you make a decision and you say, that's it. I'm going to be, in the best shape of my life. I'm going to do this. And then again, that programming is going to try to find every way to take you sideways, because first of all, you're going to have to do something uncomfortable. By the way, friends, if you're watching this and you're stuck in comfort and complacency, I just also call this bondage. You're going to continue to get the results you're getting. You got to get uncomfortable. You're going to have to do something you haven't done before. You're going to have to form the habit of the healthy, thriving person. That's where you get your butt off the couch. You go for your walks, you go for your workout, you eat healthy food, right? You clean your house of all the junk, right? So you're going to have to form the habit. And that's like absolutely essential. You're going to have to be the person with those healthy habits in order to reach the goal, but you have to do that before you reach the goal. But it's like daily action. It's action, and it's done through repetition.
Yeah, well, it is done through reps and it is done through daily. And I find where most people lack it, they're putting a time limit on it. So we'll say there's some bullshit about the gym. Let's go for a 6-week belly blast. So like the person, right? I'm not saying it's any of the viewers here, but I'm sure we've all been there in some type of program. I know I have. And we put this 6-week, 12-week mark. So our mind doesn't expand anywhere but 12 weeks. So they go all in. And I owned the gym. So I remember I used to see these people come into the gym. Now they would do everything we asked them to do. Gets to 12 weeks. And it's like, shit, what do I do now? I don't have a plan. And then they'll go, oh, we're going to take a few days off. Well, what happens is they revert back because they don't know any better. So they revert back to old self. Whereas what you're saying, and Tara, is bang on the money. Fact is, it is a matter of the daily routine. And you could call them daily non-negotiables. Now, it doesn't have to be a matter of going to the gym every day, but it's moving, it's eating right, it's connecting with better quality people. And there's nothing saying I'm not here to judge anybody. But at the end of the day, the world order wants to keep you average. So we will say everything is trying to pull you back to that old shitty behaviors and keep you stuck where you are. Whereas this is what I went back at the start and said it. That's a tough life. That's a hard life to live. I've lived there. Tara's lived there. But what's going to be easier long term is actually what you actually want, because each and every one of you, I know, has a different picture of what you want, but it's just not aligning to your actions daily. And it's your actions that are going to create the habits. But when I talk about time, like most people give up, they go to the gym. So you're talking about overweight people, right? They'll go for a week. This is too hard, and they'll give up. Then they'll do it again next year. This is too hard. Whereas like after 2 months, right? Say if you're somebody who's overweight or somebody just wants to feel better, there's no magic going to happen within a month. Now, maybe 2 months. Whoa, do you know what? Your partner is saying you look great. Now that's a bit of confidence. But this isn't just for that 2 months, 3 months. This is now, I would say, reframe it as a lifestyle. So it's a lifestyle that's going to promote your health, your wealth, because I'm telling you, when you can have the discipline around looking after your body and you can transfer that discipline to other parts, whether that's your career, whether that's creating a new business, getting into a good relationship, everything rises and it creates a better energy because you're feeling better. And see, everything we talk about actually, Tara, ties in. Patterns, beliefs, ties into actually tonight's topic, which is your habits. Because when you put in enough work. And I'm going to actually go out on a limb here and say it takes a year to actually get anything worthwhile in your life and to really have a habit stick. Now, maybe Tara has a different opinion, but...
Well, I would say, like, when you look at your life and you look at your results, it's taken you how many years up until that point? You know, and, you know, bless my mom, such an incredible soul. I remember her saying one time to me when she quit drinking, I remember her saying, you know, it took me, you know, I forget at that time, it was like 30 some years to be this messed person. It's going to take a little bit of time to undo it. And she was correct. There's programming there. So when you look at the results you're getting, you know, we're genetically and environmentally programmed. We already come to this planet programmed. That's why we look so much like our relatives. I mean, it's in our DNA. So when you look at the way that you were raised, and especially the environment you grew up in, and the results that you're getting, it took you some time to get to where you are. So I'd say, like, anything you go into, which is what you're talking about, Derek, and you look at it as like, oh, I'm going into this program, it's 3 months, or it's, you know, 3 weeks. It doesn't matter. If you look at it as, you know, a program and you're just going to do the 3 weeks and like check and you're done, you are setting yourself up for failure. Because anybody who reaches any level of success, they, on a consistent, persistent, committed basis, on a daily basis, do the work. They do the work every day on some level. It has to be a lifestyle change. That's why you want to find mentors and people that, you know, are getting the results that you want. And you don't want to just, you want to make it a new way of living, because when you look at your current results, it took you all that time to become that person, which oftentimes is not even who you are. If you're carrying, you know, 50 extra pounds, if you're in debt, if you're in shitty relationships, if you're struggling, that's not who you really are. I mean, who you really are is God's highest form of creation, your spirit. You can be, do, and have anything you want. It's all that crap. I just call it crap programming. And now you get to. And exactly what you're saying, Derek, like, you can be a minion on this planet. We are programmed to be like everybody else. Actually, our systems program us and use fear to control our nervous systems and control our minds. So we have to make those really uncomfortable decisions and form those incredible habits and beliefs, and really remember who we are, which is the successful, winning self-image. That's all about leadership. But we have to do it consistently. And yeah, I mean, at first your goal might be that you're going to do this for 3 weeks, but you got to keep at it. You got to keep chipping away at it. I know for myself, I will study and work on me for the rest of my life. I mean, we're either growing and moving forward and getting better, or we're going backwards and we're dying. Like, we're slowly dying. That's all. That's like a minion life on this planet. And our Creator gives us the ability to lead. We get to decide. And you said the word discipline. Well, discipline, I think of disciple. I've got to be a disciple of whatever it is I desire. If I want to leave this planet a lot better off than I found it, which is a personal goal of mine, I've got to be a disciple of leadership. I got to be a walking, talking disciple of that. And just doing it for 3 weeks is not going to get me the goal. I've got to be committed on a daily basis. It's the repetition. It's the repetition, and it's accountability and mentorship. We need each other. We really need each other.
100%. I could listen, leading by your actions, leading by example. It's the same thing, and it's breaking free. Listen, it's to make better habits conscious. It's like riding a bike. It's like, we talked about this in a previous episode. It's like when someone started to ride a bike first, you fell off it a lot of times, you cut your knees, you're so pissed off, but you still kept getting back on it. That's a very similar situation that you may find yourself in at the moment. And if you do feel stuck, the only way to unstuck yourself is by doing something different. And you repeat the process over and over till it becomes conscious, till it becomes like riding a bike, that it's actually a part of your life. And this is why I believe it takes, listen, we can call it 6 months to a year, I think closer to a year, to really install that. And well, it's, you know, Tara talks about programming, and it is, you know, programming from other people, really, a lot of the time. And like what you said, from DNA, because, you know, I would have taken on a lot of, Jesus Christ, I love my family, but a lot of shitty behaviors from from how I grew up. And, you know, it's not until you realize when you look at other people and you go, do you know what, who is doing the right type of habits? Who is living the life that I would like to live? But it's also worth saying, and this, it's not trying to be like anyone else, because, you know, I'm unique, Tara's unique, each one of you are unique, and it's owning that shit. And that's what's, I suppose, it's not special, but that's what's different about you. And like, we all have a backstory, we all have a life story, and it's being able to share that and go, do you know what? I messed up 1,000 times, but on the 1,001 time, I actually start living my life. And then I haven't looked back. And is there go, listen, we're not talking about there's no failures or mistakes. Of course, there's failures and mistakes. That's a part of life. That is a massive part of learning. But if you have the attitude and you're able to just adjust that and go, right, no matter what, I'm going to make certain actions non-negotiable. Now, again, that could be around I think health and fitness is non-negotiable anyway, right? It's non-negotiable for everybody, because I think that builds real baseline discipline. We'll say it builds your foundation that you can work off, because it creates a better energy. You start feeling better, confidence, you start thinking better. But it's not enough to do that, because, you know, to move part in life, you need wealth in all areas. So it's like wealth in your mind, wealth, internal wealth, physical health. You need some money to be able to move forward if you want to be able to help the people you love. Do you know, all of these things, and these things people want, and that's what they want. And it's what really kills people, Tara, because I used to think like that, go like, I'm fucking wasting away here. I used to be talking to myself, I am wasting away here, and I'm so much better. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I am trying and I'm doing my best to get there, just like each and every one of you are. But you have to ask the question, are you currently doing your best to get what you want? 99% of people are full of shit, and they're not. They're just not trying their best. Whereas to create these habits, because this is the topic today, it will take day after day. And the easiest way to do that is a day-by-day approach. It's not to go, I'm on a 12-week program. I'm on a lifetime program. That's what I would say. We're all on a lifetime program, on a journey. And it's not about us. It's actually about showing other people what's possible. And I think that's, for myself, as whatever you want to call me, coach, mentor, leader, it's about showing other people what's possible from our experiences, then from the knowledge we've gained, being able to pass it to you today. And for someone to go, do you know what? If they can do it, I can do it. And I think that's what's important, to have more people who are actually less talking and taking more of the right actions. And that is the habits at the end of the day. That's just a lifestyle.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it is all about leadership. You know, if you're someone that's here and you're not liking, you know, what you see that's going on outside of you and around you, well, I mean, Derek and I were talking about that before we hopped on this live with you. I was saying to Derek that the hardest thing that I had to learn was that I couldn't change anybody, and I couldn't change anything. You know, it had to come from inside of here. And then I could change other things, right? And we can have a positive impact on the people around us. But real change is an inside job. It's all about leading, really leading by example. So, and just to comment on what you're saying, Derek, around mistakes and failures, I mean, we want to make mistakes. We want to fail, because the reality is we're going to fail our way to success. So you want to get uncomfortable and do those things, because, you know, when you start taking action, that's what Derek's talking about. It's going to be really hard at first, because it's not part of your program. It's not a habit yet. I mean, a habit is formed through spaced repetition. I mean, I'm sure most of you that are here joining us, and hopefully you are here joining us, that, you know, you don't have to think about brushing your teeth anymore. You formed the habit. What happened? Your parents would say, hey, you know, Susie, brush your teeth, right? And we'd resist that. But over time, we form the habit and we don't have to think about it. That's why at first, forming a habit is really hard. Making those changes and changing your programming, it is brutal. It is hard. So you got to keep at her. You got to keep chipping away at it. That's where you fail your way to success. I mean, the reality is a rocket ship fails its way to the moon. So you're going to do the exact same thing. That's why you want to keep growing and doing better. And we all know we can do better. I can do better every day. I'm like, I know I can do better. Better is a really good thing, but it's through that repetition. That's why you come to your name, right? You wouldn't have come to your name at first. Someone calls you, if your name is Bill, you wouldn't have come to your name, right? It was through the repetition. Then it was like, the parent is really Bill, right? Now you come to your name. You could be at a grocery store and someone yells your name and you're like, right? Because it's repetition. That's your name. So you got to form the habit through repetition. And I want to just make note here. It's so important that we understand that we never, ever, ever get rid of a bad habit. We don't. Those habits are there. I mean, from a Vedic philosophy, we would call them samskaras. If you think of a scar, I mean, it's there. We replace bad habits with better habits. And that's why it's so important that we're consistent and we keep moving towards those good habits. Because if we do like the program, like Derek says, let's say we come in for 3 months or even a year, and then what happens is if we don't do something, we are naturally going to go back to those bad habits. We're going to naturally go back to maybe drinking too much or eating too much shit or gossiping or shopping online when we don't have the money, right? Like we're going to go back to those habits. So we've got to replace bad habits with better habits. And if you do this and you're consistent and you do this every day, but you have to be really conscious of it. That's why we need the education and study, and we need the mentors. We have to be super conscious. And if we do this every day, then of course, if this is you and you do this, you don't just think about it, and you don't just talk about it, but you take action on a daily basis, well, your whole life is going to change. It is magic. It feels like magic, but it's not. It's all by law because you're taking action, which is the most important part of this equation.
Yeah, you said something very important. It's like we all have that default settings button where it is always there. And I would say that's one of the biggest parts actually now of this live that you've shared tonight, is it is always there. Now, people will tell you, oh, but just put that behind you. I would be telling people to put their most horrific shit in front of you, so you have a memory of it. Oh, that's what I don't want to go back to. Now, of course, this will be a good video for next week, maybe to go into self-talk and stuff, because I'm going to give you an example. In the morning, I don't know what time anyone wakes up at, but we're talking about habits and someone wants to get up at, we will say 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. Now, really, do you want to get out of bed at that time? No, that's just the way we're programmed. And the first thing that will pop into my head, and let's just be straight up here, is, Derek, just relax. There's no need to get up for another. Now, that's the little, we won't get too, won't put too much language, but a little shitty voice in your head. Now, you got to be able to override these. Now, this is another class, but there's all of this stuff is important. And that's the internal work, is what Tara is saying. It's the internal work where we have to override that. But it's never goes away, because that wants to drag you back. And there's always a force there that wants to drag you back to your old habits, to keep you stuck. And let's be honest, to keep you average. There was no one, you were not born to be average. You were born to be, you were born to be great. And I like what Tara said about the DNA, because I was only reading a book, and it's mad the way everything aligns. And this guy was talking about, the 0.1%, how that's our DNA. We're unique. So no one has that small percent that you have, that I have, that Tara has. So it's to use it. It's to find your way. And it ties back in with what we started with. What do you want? Now, when you know what you want, that's the stepping stone. And we said this in session 1 of these videos. That's what we talked about, planning. Know what you want. Then it's putting the actions in place. Now, it's not expecting, it's just putting your head down and going, today is a day when I do something, I will have added that whatever percent to it. Then forget about today. And when you wake up tomorrow, it's the same. And it's just a repeated cycle over and over. Then it does become conscious. But just like that, it can be taken away from you. And that's why the analogy used the 12-week program, because the amount of people I've seen doing these programs are going on these, Jesus Christ, whatever Tony Robbins, all of this. And they're just, now, a lot of people go to Tony Robbins and get results, but I know people personally who go to 2 or 3 events and they're still in the same position. Now, that is crazy. Like, that's just, you know, it's about taking knowledge and putting it and applying it to your life. It's, you know, you learn something from me, you learn something from Tara, you apply it. Okay, that works. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe you have to adjust it for your life, but it's a continuation, and all the rewards and the fruits of your labor will be rewarded, but they won't be rewarded here and now. They might take a year. It could take 5 years, but it's the person who stays consistent, who believes. And listen, the work will come before the belief, and you can have the faith, but it could take years. I'm not saying it will, but you will have everything you want at the other side of that. And that's, like, at the end of the day, that is how you create habits. There is no other way around it. And it actually, everything else is aligned to that. Your belief changes, your pattern changes, how you see the world is different, how you speak to yourself is different. But it's, Tara said it's harsh, it's brutal. It is harsh and brutal. But what do you choose? Do you choose harsh and brutal of never realizing your life's ambitions, or choose harsh and brutal for a certain amount of time till you create a well-formed habit to get everything you want? I know what I'd rather, and I'm pretty sure I know what you'd rather.
Yeah. And I think when you just make a commitment, because it does just start with that committed decision, you cut off from excuses, you cut off from alibis, you cut off from procrastination. I mean, that's what a decision, you look up it in the dictionary. I mean, it really breaks it down to that. You got to cut off from those bad habits. Right. And I believe personally that it doesn't have to take a lot of time to start seeing results. I mean, if you just make a decision within a week, you're going to start to notice things in your life are going to start to change for the better. But again, it's that nasty genetic and environmental stuff. It's those bad habits. They are really nasty and they're strong. I mean, my mentor would just call them the devil. That darkness, it's the negative, right? So we've got to, there's going to be that day, you'll go hard for a week, you're going to start noticing results. And then you have that, you know, something that throws you off, some circumstances outside of you, just a negative situation. And then you go sideways. So that's why it's so important that you are being consistent, and that most importantly, you're not showing up when you feel like it. You're not doing what you know you need to do when you want to. You're doing it when you don't want to. You're doing it when it is hard because you made a commitment. And that's where having great, mentorship and coaches and studying is so important, because there's going to be many days that are brutal and you're not going to want to do it. And unfortunately, when you don't stay committed to what you said you were going to do, then that programming actually gains strength. That's why, in Think and Grow Rich, which I've studied extensively, I study every day, Napoleon Hill would say that, if you miss a day, you got to start back over. So if you make a decision, that's it. In the next 6 months, this is what I'm going to do. And you miss a day, you got to start back over. And that's what's hard. It doesn't mean it's undone all the good work. All the good work is there. It just shows you that you got some really strong programming that's getting in the way. And man, I can relate to that. That's why I am so committed to this path. And I know Derek is. But it's good. I mean, we want to make a decision to really just get better and get out of our own way. And when we do, by law, we just start to feel better. Our natural state is ease. It is joy. Our natural state is just prosperity. And so when we're not getting the results that we want, it's just, again, we're feeding what we don't want. So we have to form the habit. We have to form the habits that are healthy and successful and aligned with the natural laws of our being. And when we do, I mean, everything just gets better and better. And again, that's a really good thing. Derek, as we start to close this session off, what is one thing that you would suggest, like an action step for our audience to form the power of habit?
Well, like something that popped into my head, and I'm just going it because I think, again, it's just words of wisdom or whatever from you. State governs everything, which is your mood, right? So at the end of the day, Tara just said about putting your feelings aside. So I think if you want a big tip, you're going to have to put your feelings aside every day. probably every day at some point of your day. So this is why I'm saying the higher state wins. And what I mean by the higher state wins, we're connecting it to your actions and habits. You're not in the humor to get up at X amount of time, but you've committed to it, right? So you got to control your internal voice. Oh, I don't want to go to the gym. I'm too tired. Guess what? When you do that, and like you'll fight the gym. I don't want to go to the gym any day, but you know what? I come out of it and I feel great. Do I enjoy working out a lot of the time? No, I don't, because we put our feelings aside because I want to be in a higher state. So I want to lift my energy, lift my mood. So I choose hard over easy. But what happens is it creates an easier life for me on the other side. So that's the biggest tip, because it just came to me as you were talking. So if you want to live in a higher state and be in a better mood, you choose the less easy options. And you can throw in another one, control the internal voice, because that is what just wants, that's one part, big part that's going to drag most people down. I think it's actually one of the biggest. It's like, you know, it's grand. It's like your friend coming in and you're getting ready to go to the gym and it's like, oh, come on for a drink or we'll get a burger. And like most people just go, oh yeah, I can go to the gym tomorrow. Like that's bullshit and that's an excuse. So set yourself high standards. And remember, by you setting yourself high standards, you're actually helping everyone else around you who want to have the standards you're setting.
I like that. And I've been writing notes. So I hope if you're here with us, you're writing notes. And what I heard Derek say was, you're going to have to raise your standards. I mean, we don't reach our goals, we reach our standards. So you're going to have to raise your standards. You're going to have to get uncomfortable. And it's what we do every day. So just make a commitment that every day you're going to get uncomfortable. And yeah, you already know through like our sharing is it's not going to be easy. So you're going to have to get out of your own way. You're going to have to be more committed. What I heard Derek say was you're going to have to be more committed to your growth than your bullshit. Yeah. And I mean, that's so good, Derek. I love it. One thing that I would maybe say to the audience to just make this tangible is I would say today, just take a look at your results, get really honest and real. I think most people lie to themselves. And I would say, like, when you look at your results, you know, that's just a reflection of your habits. So I would say, first of all, you got to get clear. That gets back to our earlier session when we first started, is like, what do you want? If you don't want this, and this is what you want, what is that one habit that I am going to take action on a daily basis? So maybe you write down 6 really positive, successful habits, productive habits. By the way, they have to be action focused, and then you have to give yourself a demand to move forward. But what is that one out of those 6 things? What is the one priority action step that I have to work on consistently every day and just take action? Just start chipping away at it, because we all know we can do better. And I love this. Really activated me at first with my mentor, Bob. He would say, you know, we all can do better, right? He says, but once you know you can do better, better is not enough. You're going to have to do what it's going to take. And I think that that's how that programming shows up. Well, I'm doing my best. I'm trying. But again, the paradigm's setting you up. You're going to have to do what it's going to take. And that's not going to be comfortable. That's going to be very uncomfortable. And I know that if you take action on this, you're going to get better results. And remember, you can reach out to Derek and myself anytime. We love to have conversations. We love serving. We love helping others. And why? Because we're so fired up around what we do. We love helping our clients. And most importantly is just leading by example. So what's one thing that you want our audience to remember here, Derek?
Okay, just pick one thing and just start taking action on it. So I would actually make a note if I was the audience right now, if I was one of the viewers. I would hopefully you would have taken notes, but if you haven't, you can take this note and just write, take action even when I don't feel like it. Now that'll just give you a little, you know, create a little pattern in your mind. It can be a little mantra, take action even when I don't feel like it. Or even when I don't feel like it, take action would be better. So you're leaving it on nice words. Bit of better language there, I think.
Oh, I love it. And I would just say, what I want you to remember is your habits are going to make or break you. I mean, you just got to take an honest look at your life and your results And just remember, you're just a product of your habits. Your results are just a manifestation of your habits. So get better habits and you're going to get a better life.
Yes,
I mean, you woke up today. What a gift. You have this life. So take action. We hope you have a great day. Derek and I look forward to jumping on here again live next week, same time. Mark it in your calendar. Let us know you're here. And you know what? Take action. What are you going to do to move towards the results that you want? How are you going to hack those habits? I mean, it is the power of habit. So have a great day, and we will see you again soon.
See you next week. Bye.